Picture yourself on a Viking ship, wind in your face, warriors ready for battle. You hear the ship creaking and your friends shouting as you near the village. Viking life was short and risky, filled with daily action, adventure, and survival. They weren't just fighters. They were farmers, traders, sailors. Each family member keeps their world thriving. Viking homes, called longhouses, were made of wood and straw, often smoky from the indoor fire that kept the family warm during harsh winters. Kids as young as 7 did chores daily. Their diet was simple but nourishing, including barley bread, cheese, salted fish, and occasionally roasted meat from hunts. Winters were tough with 3 feet of snow, but families banded together to survive. Vikings thrived due to their grit and skills. Viking women were powerful. Some even became warriors and led their own armies. Queens like Lagertha became legendary figures known for bravery and tactical skill. Women could inherit land and manage estates, showing their power just like warriors. Viking society valued courage and smarts in everyone, not just men. How cool is that? Religion played a central role in Viking life. They worshipped gods like Odin, the wise and cunning ruler of the gods, and Thor, the mighty god of thunder. Their myths were filled with dragons, giants, and magical weapons, stories that taught lessons, warned of dangers, and entertained families around the fire. Rituals and sacrifices were part of daily life, showing respect to the gods and hoping for blessings on battles, voyages, and harvests. These myths weren't just fantasy, they shaped how Vikings saw the world and gave meaning to their often dangerous lives. Viking warfare was terrifying to their enemies. Long ships capable of carrying 60 men could sail over 100 miles in a single day, appearing suddenly on riverbanks and coasts. Axes, swords, and spears were standard weapons, but Vikings' greatest advantage was surprise. Entire villages could be abandoned after a single raid, and some warriors were still teenagers when they led attacks. Legendary figures like Ragnar, Lothbrok, and Ivar the Boneless became famous for using brains, strategy, and cunning as much as brute force. Even Viking competitions and games could be deadly, with wrestling, mock battles, and long-ship races often resulting in serious injuries. Viking sagas are epic stories blending myth and reality. Dragons, magical swords, and impossible journeys fill these tales. But at their core, they recount real voyages, battles, and survival stories. Death in Viking culture was treated with grandeur. Chiefs and kings were often buried in ships, surrounded by treasures, weapons, and sometimes animals, intended to accompany them to the afterlife. Archaeologists have found gold, jewelry, and swords from these burials, revealing their craftsmanship and the respect Vikings had for the dead. Exploration was another hallmark of Viking life. Leif Erikson and his crew reached North America around 1000 AD, thousands of miles across icy oceans, long before Columbus. Life at sea was dangerous, with storms, freezing water, and the constant threat of shipwrecks. Vikings relied on incredible navigational skills, endurance, and courage to make these voyages successful. They traded with distant lands, crafted intricate jewelry, and built fast, durable longships. Some ships could carry 60 men, while in emergencies, even 30 children would row to ensure survival. Scandinavian winters were brutal for Vikings, but they were strong, too. Every day was a challenge, but these skills helped Vikings thrive where others might perish. Despite their fearsome reputation, Vikings weren't just raiders. They were brilliant strategists, explorers, and innovators. They explored coastlines, built trade routes, and thrived. From icy fjords to distant shores, from ship burials to epic battles, Vikings combined fear, adventure, and family loyalty into lives that were as brutal as they were fascinating. Next time you think of Vikings, don't just imagine horned helmets. The Vikings lived short, dangerous lives, but their stories are immortal, full of action, adventure, and lessons that still capture our imagination today.